Listen up, because what's going down at Hallis Hall right now has the entire city of Chicago on the edge of its seat. We've got a star player who just suffered a setback right when we needed them most. A connection between our quarterback and a receiver that looked dead but just came back to life in the most electric way possible. And a dominant performance that's got everyone asking if this team is finally ready for what's next. But here's the thing, and hear me out, not everything is what it seems on the surface. There are decisions being made, players stepping up when it matters most, and signs that this team is building something special just as the season hits crunch time. If you bounce now, you're gonna miss info that'll completely change how you see the rest of this season. So stick with me, because what's coming is going to be worth every second. And if you're not subscribed to this channel yet, what are you waiting for? Hit that subscribe button now, because this Bears community is growing fast and you don't want to be left behind. First story. Look, I'm going to keep it real with you. When I saw Odunze listed as questionable on Friday, I thought, all right, the kid's going to play. He's been dealing with this since October. He's toughed it out. He'll be there for us. But then, minutes before kickoff against the Browns, Adam Schefter drops the bomb. Odunze aggravated his foot injury during warm-ups, and he's out. Do you understand how massive that is? Do you get what it means to lose your top receiver minutes before the game starts? I mean, how the hell is Ben Johnson supposed to adjust the game plan on the fly? How's Caleb Williams supposed to mentally prep for losing his go-to guy against one of the nastiest defenses in the league? And here's what really worries me. Listen close. This isn't just a one-game injury. Odunze's been battling heel and foot issues for weeks. He's been a warrior, playing through pain. But now we're looking at a setback that could cost him more games. And it's happening at the worst possible time, right when we're fighting for control of our fate in the NFC North. Let me tell you something. Odunze has been a cornerstone of this offense. We're talking 44 catches on 90 targets, 661 yards, averaging 15 yards per catch, and 6 touchdowns. Those aren't just decent stats. Those are WR1 numbers. And now, just as we hit the final stretch of the season, when every game counts double, we lose one of our biggest weapons. But here's the part that's got me thinking. And I want you to think about this too. Was it the right call to let him warm up if the injury was that serious? Why wasn't he ruled inactive earlier? I think the medical staff and coaches have some tough questions to answer about how this was handled. Because there's a big difference between being tough and playing through pain and risking long-term damage for one game. And look, I get the warrior mindset. I respect that Rome wants to be there for the squad. But we also got to be smart. This kid is part of the future of this franchise. He's a key piece of what we're building here in Chicago. Is it worth risking his long-term health for a December game? Let me ask you this. Would you rather have Odunze at 60% out there now, or at 100% in 2 weeks when we really need him for the playoffs? I think the answer's obvious. And if this setback means he needs to sit a couple more games to fully heal, then so be it. Now here's what's really got me intrigued. How is this gonna shift the offense? Without Rome, we're seeing a major reshuffling of targets. DJ Moore's gonna have to carry more of the load. Luther Burden III's gonna need to step up. And Caleb Williams is gonna have to trust receivers who maybe haven't had many chances this season. But you know what? This might actually be a blessing in disguise. It's going to force Ben Johnson to get more creative with his play calls. It's going to push other receivers to prove what they can do. And it's going to give Caleb Williams a shot to show he can win games without leaning on just one guy. Second story. And speaking of DJ Moore, let me tell you something. If you thought DJ Moore was washed, if you thought the connection between him and Caleb Williams was broken, if you thought we'd already seen the best of this man, you were dead wrong, because what DJ Moore did against the Browns was nothing short of spectacular. We're talking 69 yards and 2 touchdowns on just 4 catches. But it's not just about the numbers. It's about how he did it. It's about the timing. It's about showing up when this team needed him most. And that 22-yard touchdown. Good Lord, let me ask you, when's the last time you saw something like that? Caleb Williams throwing across his body, the ball threading between two Browns defenders, and DJ Moore snatching it out of the air like it was his by birthright. Next Gen Stats said that play had just a 16.1% chance of being completed. 16.1! That's the most improbable completion by a Bears quarterback in 4 years. You know what that tells me? It tells me Caleb Williams has the guts and the swagger to try throws other quarterbacks wouldn't even dream of. It tells me DJ Moore's got the skill and the fire to make plays that look impossible. And it tells me this connection, this chemistry between QB and WR is starting to click at just the right time. Because look, I'll be real with you, the last few weeks have been rough for DJ Moore. There were times he looked out of sync with the offense, times he looked frustrated, times fans were wondering if he was still the WR1 we need. But I always said, don't sleep on DJ Moore. This man's got too much talent, too much experience, too much pride to stay down for long. And against the Browns, he showed exactly why the Bears paid him what they did. Now here's what really fires me up about this performance. It wasn't just about the highlight reel touchdowns. It was about seeing him dangerous again, seeing him locked in, seeing him as a legit threat defenses have to respect. And with Odunze out for who knows how long, guess what? DJ Moore's got to be that guy. He's got to be the one Caleb Williams trusts on 3rd and long. He's got to be the guy who makes plays when the game's on the line. He's got to be the leader of this receiver room. I think DJ Moore's ready for that challenge. I think this game against the Browns was just the start of a dominant finish to the season. I think we're about to see the DJ Moore we knew in Carolina, the guy who could take over games by himself. And you know what else this game told me? It told me Caleb Williams is learning to trust his receivers in high-pressure moments. He's willing to take calculated risks. He's got the mindset of a winner who's not afraid to go for the tough play. And that touchdown throw, that impossible play, you know what that was? That was a statement. That was Caleb Williams telling the league, I can do things you can't even imagine. That was DJ Moore telling the doubters, I'm still here and I'm still elite. Look, you don't usually teach your quarterback to roll out and throw across his body into the end zone between multiple defenders. If that ball had ended up in a Browns defender's hands, we'd be having a very different conversation about Caleb Williams, even if the Bears still won. But because Williams put that ball exactly where it needed to be, and because Moore made an insanely athletic grab, the Bears got a highlight that's going to be on every reel this week. That play shows you what makes Williams so tempting, the ability to make the impossible look possible, and the confidence to even try it. The Bears bet their future on Williams because he can make the absurd seem doable. And once again, he proved just how good he is at doing that. And here's another stat that's got me hyped. With those 2 touchdowns against the Browns, Caleb Williams now has 21 on the season. That makes him the first Bears quarterback since Jay Cutler in 2014 and 2015 to throw 20 touchdowns in back-to-back seasons. The first in 10 years. Williams also just passed 3,000 yards on the season, giving him an outside shot at the Bears' single-season passing record over the final 3 games, depending on how much volume he gets. Do you understand what that means? We're witnessing history in the making. We're watching something special take shape. We're seeing a young quarterback not just meet expectations, but blow right past them. Third story. Now let me talk to you about the team performance against the Browns. Because what we saw on Sunday wasn't just a win. It was a statement. A 31-3 beatdown that showed exactly what this team is capable of when everyone's locked in. Let's start with Caleb Williams, because his overall performance deserves more love. No setbacks this week. He carved up the Browns defense for 242 yards and 2 touchdowns. Both scores were absolute lasers to DJ Moore. But what stood out most was how efficiently he operated against Myles Garrett and that nasty pass rush. Yeah, he got sacked 3 times. But against Myles Garrett, that's practically a miracle. And despite constant pressure, Williams kept putting the ball on target after a few weeks of shaky accuracy. He completed 17 of 28 passes, and most of the misses were drops, solid defense, or smart throwaways under heat. Let me ask you, isn't that exactly what we want from our quarterback of the future? Efficiency, under pressure, smart decision-making, the ability to make big plays when it counts? But it wasn't just Caleb. DeAndre Swift had one of those games that reminds you why the Bears brought him in. He led the backfield with 98 yards and 2 touchdowns on 18 carries. He ran hard all game, whether it was straight up the gut or bouncing outside against a Browns defense that kept giving up the edge. And here's the thing about Swift. On any given week, he can go from looking like an every down star to a guy you don't want to see touch the ball again. This was one of the good weeks. And if he can stack more games like this offense becomes a nightmare to stop. Because when you can run the ball effectively, control the clock, and keep guys like Myles Garrett off the field, it changes everything. It gives Caleb Williams more time to work. It opens up the passing game. It makes this offense nearly unstoppable. Now on defense, let's talk about Jaylon Johnson. After missing most of the season with an injury, the 2-time Pro Bowl corner needed a big game to show he's still one of the league's best. And that's exactly what he delivered. Even though he wasn't targeted much, Johnson broke up a pass and made a beautiful interception that saved a touchdown and kept the Browns from clawing back. That's the difference between a good corner and an elite one. Johnson doesn't just make plays, he makes game-changing plays. And then there's DeMarco Jackson with that insane interception. He tipped a pass from Shedeur Sanders to himself and set up Williams' second touchdown. Jackson's been part of a gritty group of backup linebackers who've stepped up big this year, and he got rewarded with a huge moment. You know what all this tells me? It tells me this team has depth. It tells me when starters go down, there are guys ready to step up. It tells me the culture Matt Eberflus and this coaching staff are building is working. And don't forget about Colston Loveland. He didn't score this week, but he caught 4 of 5 targets for 63 yards, including a couple of clutch first downs. More importantly, Loveland is starting to show he might bring more value to this team than Cole Kmet. Kmet's solid at what he does, but Loveland's ceiling is just way higher, and he doesn't hit the cap like Kmet does. And with Odunze out, we need every eligible receiver to step up, and Loveland is doing just that. Look, this win over the Browns was more than just a win. It was validation. It was proof that this team can dominate when it's supposed to. It was a sign that when everyone's healthy and playing to their potential, the Bears can hang with anyone in the NFC. The Bears just played maybe their best game of the season in this 31-3 beatdown of the Browns, proving they're legit playoff contenders and shutting down all that trap game talk from NFL analysts. They still control their own destiny as the 2025 NFL season winds down. And winning out would lock up the NFC North crown for Chicago. Do you get what that means? We control our own destiny. We don't need other teams to lose. We don't need help. If we win our games, we are division champs. And after years of watching this team fall short, after years of watching the Packers run this division, after years of wondering if we'd ever be relevant again, we're finally in position to take what's ours. I believe this team is building momentum at the perfect time. I believe this win over the Browns was the kind of dominant performance that can launch a playoff run. I believe Chicago is ready to remind the NFL why we're the monsters of the Midway. So let me ask you this. After seeing Odunze go down right before the game, do you think the medical staff handled it right? Or should he have been ruled out before warm-ups? I want to hear your thoughts. Drop them in the comments. And about that revived connection between Caleb Williams and DJ Moore, that impossible touchdown play. Was it pure brilliance or just a risky move that happened to work? Can Williams and Moore build on this and become one of the most dangerous QBWR duos in the league? Let me know what you think about the future of that connection. And finally, after that total beatdown of the Browns, after watching this team dominate in every phase of the game, are you ready to believe the Chicago Bears are real playoff contenders? Can this team win the games it needs to and lock up the NFC North? I want to hear your confidence level in the comments. But here's the thing, family. This channel isn't just about me talking Bears. It's about US, this amazing community of passionate fans who live and breathe Navy and Orange. It's about building something special together, about sharing the highs of every win and the pain of every loss. And if you've been watching this far, if you've been riding with me through this roller coaster of a season, then you're already part of this family. But if you haven't hit that subscribe button yet, What are you waiting for? Because I promise you, tomorrow, the next day, every day this week, we're going to have more Breaking Bears news. We're going to be here breaking down every move, every decision, every play that impacts this team. We're going to be here celebrating wins and figuring out how to bounce back from losses. We're going to be here together, like the Bears family we are. So subscribe to the channel now. Smash that like button if you're hyped for what's coming for the Bears. Turn on notifications so you don't miss a single update. And share this video with every Bears fan you know, because this community only gets stronger the more of us are in it. Because at the end of the day, that's what we are, a family that suffered together, waited together, and is finally seeing signs that something special is being built at Halas Hall. So stick with me, family, stick with me as we ride out the rest of this season. Stick with me as we find out if these Bears can finally bring a championship back to Chicago. Bear down, family. I'll see you in the next video.